Okay, so good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, good evening, depending upon where you are in the world. Thank you very much for joining this first of our pre-departure webinars for students who are due to join us at University of Plymouth International College next January. We have an agenda to go through, lots of useful information we need to impart. But I'll start just by introducing myself and my colleagues on the UPIC team here. So I'm Tim Gotzel. I'm Director of Marketing and Admissions for University of Plymouth International College. And then we have Toby, Amber and Chloe who can introduce themselves.
If you could all mute your mics, please, that would be helpful. Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Toby Joseph Johnson. I'm the Manager of College Services here at the University of Plymouth International College.
Hi everyone, I'm Chloe. I'm an admissions officer here at UPIC.
Hello, my name's Amber. I'm the Marketing and Student Recruitment Coordinator. So promoting all the fun things we do at the college and helping students with any questions they may have.
And Shibomi, of course, sorry, I didn't mention you there, but we have Shibomi too.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Ola Shibomi. I'm the Student Recruitment Assistant for UPIC and the university as well. So I'm here.
Thanks all. So, and back to you to drive, Toby, and for the agenda. So these are the kinds of things that we're going to take you through this morning, the kind of information we're going to share. So obviously starting with the welcomes and introductions and then meet the team. And then we'll talk to you about the student support services available in the university at the Student Hub. So that covers things like the welfare team, counselling, disability and dyslexia service, student centre and immigration support. We'll talk to you about accommodation, and that's really important because there's more of a shortage of accommodation in Plymouth in this coming January than we've had before because demand is very high. So we'll tell you about the options and the booking process. We'll talk to you about dates. So the upcoming dates for payment, for CAS, and then for arrival in the UK to be here in good time for the start of teaching. We'll tell you about how to get here. So not just how to travel from Nigeria or wherever you are to the UK, but how to reach Plymouth in the southwest of England once you're in the UK. We'll talk to you about visas, about the medical centre, about our induction week activities, and then all of the semester dates as well. And we'll give you an introduction to our sabbatical officer team, who will be your representatives in the university.
Thanks, Tim. I'll lead on the next slide. So everything to do with your soft landing as you arrive in the UK all comes under the Student and Academic Services team. There are 4 members of staff here in that group. So myself, including my colleague Dion, Anita, and Dr. David Jones, who's the Director of Academic and Student Services. Well, the first point of contact once you arrive in the UK, or once you've gone through the admissions process and gone to the unconditional offer stage and made your payment. We help students go through their studies whilst they're here, right up to when they graduate. So no issue is too small or big. We're here to provide a service. And then when you progress across to the university, we will then introduce you to the Student Hub team. Our office opening hours are 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. We're also available via mobile and email. The details are on this slide I'm on, so feel free to take a screenshot or get in touch if you have any questions. The Student Hub. So the Student Hub is located in the University Library. They are a group of very highly skilled individuals in different specialities, ranging from welfare, counseling, disability and dyslexia to immigration. So for any of you who might have possible placement opportunities on your course, they'll be the best people to assist you because they'll be trained up on, careers and how to get extra placements, how to develop your CV and prepare for interviews. So we have services and the right people across the university that can assist you with any queries that you have. One thing to mention as well through the student services team here at the college is that we also assist you with your accommodation bookings. And I'm sure as we go along this webinar, you'll hear me mention to you about booking very early and booking as soon as possible, because there are limited amount of rooms available. So we would like to, get that booking through as quickly as possible. But Tim, can you tell us a little bit about the location?
I can tell you a lot about the location if you'd like, but Plymouth is called Britain's Ocean City. We're down in the southwest of England, about 3.5 hours by train from London. The city of Plymouth has a population of about 250,000 people, but it's a big regional centre as well. So it has a lot of big city facilities, theatre, cinema, cafes and restaurants and big shopping malls. So it feels like a big city of lots of facilities, but it's small enough to feel sort of comfortable, so you can negotiate your way around and enjoy the natural beauty as well, because this is a seaside city with a lovely waterfront. And then inland we have Dartmoor, which is a countryside area of outstanding natural beauty. So great place to be a student, described by GQ magazine as the coolest little city by the sea.
Thanks, Tim. So what you're seeing now is a campus map where the college is circled in on number 20. I don't know whether you can see my cursor, but we're right on the corner of the university campus. Everything in purple here is the university campus. There are some other buildings across the city, but we are, like Tim mentioned, a city center campus, city center university. So we're right at the heart of Plymouth, right opposite local transportation, so like the Plymouth Railway Station, and also the coach station. So we're very close proximity to both of those. So transport costs are very limited whilst you study here at the University of Plymouth. So now I'm just going to come off the screen, stop sharing for a minute, because I'll just take you on a little journey across Plymouth to show you what it really looks like. Do bear with.
It's worth the wait. Toby's going to launch his drone and take you on an overhead tour of Plymouth and the area. So just bear with us for a moment. If you have any questions while we're going along, feel free to use the chat function. Here we go.
There we are. So
Successfully launched.
At the moment, we're right above the university campus, but I think it's very important to start over here, just to give you an idea of why we're called Britain's Ocean City. As you can see, this is Plymouth Hoe. I'm sure most of you would have seen this imagery of the lighthouse across all the different materials we have. Probably when you look on our website, when you see our brochures, when you've applied for a program with us and you received the unconditional offer. I believe the Smeaton's Tower is on your offer. So this is Plymouth Hoe that we're over at the moment. Amber and Chloe, can you tell us about your experience of coming to this destination, what it's like?
Yeah, I mean, well, I moved to Plymouth in the summer, so it was beautiful weather, super sunny. So we were at the home most of the time. As you can see, there's an outdoor swimming pool called the Lido. That's a really good place to go. But yeah, it's just a really lovely place. Like Tim mentioned, you've got everything so close. It's within walking distance to the city centre. And yeah, so it's a really good experience and the students love it here.
Fantastic. And Chloe?
Oh, I don't think Chloe is there at the minute, sorry.
Oh, apologies. Tim,
Right.
do you go for walks around here quite often?
Hey, it's a great place to go for walks. We've got a large green area here. And remember, all of this is only about 10 minutes from the college and the university campus. So the walk from the college down to the green space that you can see here, that's just 10 minutes. So you can comfortably do that during lunchtime or after lectures are finished. And you're on the waterfront here. So to either side, we have beaches along the coast, which can be lovely to visit. where are you taking us, Toby? So obviously we are a coastal university, so a lot of the things, a lot of the areas of excellence for the university are related to our location. So we were hovering there briefly over the marine station, where are lots of research vessels and even submarines the university has that support student study. This is where Toby keeps his yacht, his super yacht, that he goes out in at the weekends. But there are marinas to both sides of the city.
Yeah, the wave dancer, definitely on a Sunday afternoon.
Is that
Brilliant.
yours, Toby?
Yeah, well, don't say it too loudly.
And you can even, for small boats that act as ferries to go from one side of the city to the other, or further down the coast into Cornwall if you want to do a bit of an excursion. So lovely location, as you can see, but also a very practical and convenient location, because all of our accommodation is in the city centre area. So again, the accommodation would be no more than 10 or 15 minutes walking distance away from the college and the university campus, and from the waterfront, and from all of the shopping facilities.
Fantastic. Thanks, thanks, Tim. And the other thing to mention as well is just because it's hospitality is one of the leading industries in the city, there are a few career positions or part-time work available for students should they apply. And yeah, like I said earlier, those services are available at the careers department, who can support you with that application once you arrived. I'll go back to the city, to the campus now. The buildings in red, as you can see, are different facilities. This one here, called the Babbage Building, is currently under development and should be ready between the 23-24 academic year. So there's always constant improvement going across in Plymouth. There are always new buildings going up. So it's a modern city that's developing constantly. I mentioned as well earlier that we are right across the train station. So it's only a 5-minute walk once you arrive in London, go to Paddington Station and take a 3 to 4 hour train journey down to Plymouth in the southwest. Other very important places across the university campus are probably the Students' Union, which is located here. Opposite the Students' Union is the University Library, where you're all going to be doing a lot of studying. But obviously it's a work-life balance being a student. You want to study hard, but you also want to be able to integrate and, you know, participate in different societies and clubs that are available at the Students' Union. Tim, is there anywhere else you'd like to go or visit? Sorry, you're on mute.
Sure. Okay. Should we go and look at some of the student accommodation on the other side of North Hill?
Yep. So we can come across this way. So these are the student halls located on campus, Gilwell Place.
Yeah, so as we mentioned before, this is all just across the road from the main university campus. It's all modern, purpose-built student accommodation. So all UPIC students have access to the university accommodation, or they can use the services of our preferred letting agent called Clever Student Lets. So you have lots of options available to you, but do just bear in mind on the accommodation, there is a lot more demand than there has been previously. So you need to get your bookings in early.
Absolutely. So I'll just stop sharing that for a minute and then just go to the next slide, which is about accommodation, convenient.
Yeah, so we hope that gives you a taste of how the city looks and feels, and it's a great place to live and to study.
Okay. So yes, a little bit of our accommodation. It's very important, actually, most of you who are on this call. So some of you, you know, the purpose of this call as well is to give you an introduction about life in Plymouth, but it's also to try and get you to the next stage. Moving forward in the next few pre-departure webinars for students who paid their fees, we will be having a representative from our accommodation provider, Clever Student Lets, joining us, who would be able to answer some of your questions about the various rooms that are available. But just to give you an idea, please visit the website in the URL underneath our accommodation, which will give you a taste of some of the services that are available. This will continuously be refreshing and coming up to date because properties are going every day, so some may not be available, but please just read the information. As Tim mentioned, city center campus, everything is within a walking distance, so 5 to 10 minutes you can get to your accommodation. We've got ensuite rooms available, and also most students get a complimentary bedding pack when they arrive, and some moving day help by either the student support team, an ambassador, or someone from Clever Student-Leds. Prices do range from upwards of £100 a week, and you can book an accommodation via our website online. The next slide here, you just see some of our ex-students just enjoying a little coffee and catch up, in partnership with Clever Student-Leds. And like you can see there in red highlighted, there is a high level of demand for accommodation in Plymouth. So as it's a very competitive market, please ensure that you secure a place before arriving in the UK. Okay, very, very important.
It's really important to emphasize that. Our accommodation, that we still do really well for student accommodation compared to many university cities in the UK. Toby mentioned the prices typically start from around £100 a week. That's very competitive. So you could easily pay twice that in London and have a lower standard of accommodation and be further away from the place you're studying. So still, we have a good supply of accommodation, very competitively priced, really good value. But yeah, just to note, you do need to make your booking early.
Amber, would you like to talk a little bit more about the payment deadline?
Yeah, sure. So basically the payment deadline before arriving into the UK is the 7th of December. So that's coming up. I'll just have a quick look on my calendar to see exactly when that is. So 1, 2, exactly 3 weeks from today. So put that in your diary, people. The 7th of December, very important that it's paid in full by then. If I was you, I'd maybe start paying like this week if you haven't already, because it can take a while for the banks to process. If you want any further information, please do take note of our website, so upic.navitas.com/fees. And yeah, as we mentioned, we sound like a broken record, but accommodation is very competitive. So yeah, look at your accommodation as well. But when it comes to the payment deadline, that is the 7th of December. Thank you so much.
Shibomi, would you like to say a little bit about the specific requirements and ways of making payment from Nigeria? Because I can see we have a lot of Nigerian applicants on the call.
Yes, okay, text him. Yeah, so we know that we have slight delay from Nigeria here, that's using the Form A. So it's advisable, like very imperative that if you have people in UK who can help you with the payment, they could help you with that as well. Then you can also speak with your bank officials, maybe your account officer or maybe the branch manager or something, that they could help you process that as soon as they can once you get your unconditional offer. And if you're still, expecting, let's say, your unconditional offer, would implore you to also put in your form for your Form A way earlier. So by the time you are getting your unconditional offer, by then, because you don't know when the bank is actually going to debit you, you could get debited while still in the process of that. So just to ensure that you meet the deadline, I would advise you speak with your account officers, your branch managers, or if you have anyone in the UK who could help you with the payment, that is also acceptable. Thank you.
Thank you, Shibomi. Could I also say one thing about that as well from the admissions point of view?
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. So Form A is great when you get that started, but what we really need to see is the actual payment receipt. And that to us will be the proof of payment, just because obviously Form A can take a long time to process. So yeah, that was all I wanted to add to that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So at the end of the process with a Form A, you tend to get what you call a telex. That telex is kind of a form of payment because it proves to our UK finance department that those funds have been received. We can't stress enough, all 4 of us have mentioned it separate times throughout this webinar. It's very, very important that you start making arrangements to pay that before the deadline of the 7th of December. I would start now because it's exactly 3 weeks before that deadline if you'd like to make it in time. And we'd also please encourage you to book your accommodation on time so that we can get the process going. Chloe, can you just tell us a little bit about other things and other steps that students have to take after they've made the payment deadline? So once they've made their payment, you've received it, what are the usual things that happen next in the process?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Toby. Yeah, so the next thing that will happen once we've received your payment, we will let you know. We'll send you an email for you to complete a pre-CAS checklist. So if you can complete that as soon as possible, that will get things rolling. And then once you've completed that, we will process it and we will then issue your pre-CAS, your PCAS. So it's important that when you get this, you check all the information on it very carefully, make sure it's all correct. If there's anything that needs amending, please let us know. So you just reply to that email with any amendments. And then after that, once we've got confirmation from you that that's okay to go, we can start issuing the CAS. Well, before that, we need to receive your bank statement. So obviously we need to have 28 days worth of your bank statement in your to see your bank statement. Yeah. And then we can start issuing the CAS once we've approved the bank statement and we've seen that enough funds are in there for the 28 days consecutively.
Fantastic. And I believe that has to be in either their parents' name or their name, personal or savings account, correct?
Correct. Yes. So yeah, your parents' name or your own account. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Chloe. And so, yeah, there you go. You've got so many, different people from the college here giving you lots of information and who are going to be all part of your journey here coming to the Britain's Ocean City this January. So please do, I encourage all of you to try and take the next steps in your application. And yeah, please do get in touch if you have any questions. So once you've gone through this process, thanks, Chloe. Once you've gone through this process and you've received your CAS, you've applied for your visa, you've booked your accommodation, you want to arrive in the UK and you're thinking, oh, what other methods can I get here? We've got an airport pickup service. The prices have changed since then. You can book it via the URL there. So you can get in touch with us and book that airport pickup. There are other ways of getting to Plymouth, obviously. So you can use the railway, you can use the coach, so that's the bus. And yeah, we wouldn't advise you walking, it's very long distance. I wouldn't advise you, you'd need to camp a few times. Plus, it's going to be relatively quite cold in January. So yeah, definitely a step that I'd miss there. The next thing I'm going to talk about is once you've received your visa now, I think the process has changed a little bit now. When you get your visa, you'd submit your passport to the embassy. You do your biometrics after your appointment. And at which point, once you've received your visa, so you've been notified that your passport's been is ready for collection, you will then get a further email about picking up your BRP. So you get it via email, and that's what you use alongside your passport to pick up your BRP from the post office once you're in the UK. Details of this will be provided in your CAS documents. Chloe and the admissions team will send this across to you. And yeah, some very useful information there. Tim, can you tell us a little bit about the medical center and what's available for the students?
Certainly, Toby. The University Medical Centre, you can see there, actually has a pharmacy attached to it as well, and that's right in the heart of the campus. That's accessible to all students. The only thing that you need to do to be able to access the medical centre is to register with a GP, general practitioner, a doctor locally, and then you will have full access to the university's medical centre right in the heart of the campus, as I said before.
Fantastic, thank you. And I'll just talk to you a little bit about enrollment week. So these are some of the dates for the enrollments starting in January. The week commencing the 16th to the 20th of January is your orientation. And for any students on here who might be a pre-master student, I highly doubt it, but your orientation between the 23rd and 27th. So if you're foundation and first year, which is for undergrad students here, your classes officially start on the 23rd of January. Below are some of the documents that you're going to need when you arrive. So some of your original qualifications, your passport, your identity, UK address, definitely applicable, I would say, and some emergency contact details. The orientation guide will be sent out in a few weeks. The team here are working on it currently. Amber will make it so beautiful for you and very useful and colorful. So please make sure you read it. It's very important that you engage with us via email. That's that's the first point of contact that we're going to use. On day 5 of the orientation week, we have more program specific talks. So meeting with the college management team. So you meet with the college principal, the head of the director of marketing of academic and student services, and also details of how to join your classes and how to interact with our student portal. Important dates for arrival. So just to touch up on, 16th to the 20th of January is the undergraduate orientation, postgraduates from the 23rd, 27th, the classes when they start. The last day of possible enrollment is the 3rd of February. So I believe that's the second week of teaching. So it's very important that you get everything in order. Okay, if you receive your CAS, don't wait a couple of days before you make that application. Please do so as soon as possible. Understandably, during Christmas time, everything is going to be quite closed up. So that's another thing to make sure, you guys are getting your head is that if you do apply, you get your visa a little bit earlier than normal, we are closed over the Christmas period. So we won't be open from the 23rd up until the 3rd of January. So we're closed from those dates. So it's very, very important I stress that. Tim, would you agree?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. And yeah, just a bit of our sabbatical officers. You can see that there is a nice mix of nationalities in there. We got the president, the VP Activities, Education, and VP Wellbeing, and they are there to represent you at the Students' Union. So it's not just for the more fun activities, but they can also, represent you in the more senior meetings around anything around your academics and your journey throughout your stay here in Plymouth.
And we've had previous UPIC students, haven't we, Toby, who've gone on to be a part of the Students' Union. We've had a president, we've had other VPs. So when you first arrive, these people are your representatives on campus, people you can turn to for support, but you can also, as you go through your student journey with the university, you can join this group and be a mentor and support to other students who follow you. Perhaps worth saying a bit more about student support as well, Toby. I know you did mention this, but when you come to UPIC, we're a relatively small college with a friendly, supportive team. So the student services team on campus, we have 3 colleagues in that team now, led by Toby. So it's a big step coming to study in another country, but we do have the team there ready and very willing to support you and to address any questions you may have. So please feel that you're going to be welcomed and supported by the team when you arrive.
Fantastic. And just the next slide just has some useful information about contact details there. I don't know why there's a blue line across that. Interesting. But yeah, feel free to take those details in case you want to drop us an email and you have any questions. Now I'm just going to run through some little FAQs and we're going to do a little bit of a dialogue between myself and the members of staff here. So I would start with Amber. How can I enroll if I have not gotten my visa? Can I enroll if I haven't got my visa?
No, you cannot. You have to have your visa first.
Fantastic. And Tim, can I live anywhere in the UK when I arrive?
No, you can't. When you come to study at UPIC, you won't be studying, you won't have classes all day, every day, but in effect, our school day starts at 9 and ends at 5. So you're going to have to live somewhere that allows you regularly to get into the college by 9, And when the classes finish at 5, it allows you to get home in a reasonable time. So no, you can't live anywhere in the UK. You have to live within a reasonable kind of commuting distance from the college and from Plymouth.
Fantastic. And I will go for Shubomi. When do I have to pay the second installment of my fees?
Yes, that will be on enrollment.
Okay. So you can pay either an enrollment or you can pay in week 9 of teaching.
No, on enrollment. Okay.
Yeah. How early can I arrive in Plymouth, Tim?
There's a limit, isn't there? We advise you to arrive no later than the start of the enrolment week, because the enrolment week will have all kinds of useful activities and information. And it will also give you a chance to get yourself properly settled into your accommodation, to find your way around the campus and around the city. So don't get here late. We'd say any time in the new year, so from the beginning of January. Don't come too early, because then you'll be hanging around with nothing to do. But any time from the 1st of January onwards. For postgraduate pre-master's students, then you absolutely have to be here by the first day of teaching in order to enroll. We have a little bit more flexibility for undergraduate students, but still you'll be a lot more settled, a lot more comfortable, familiar with the environment if you come a little bit early, and certainly by the start of the enrollment week.
Fantastic, thank you. Amber, do I need to buy a laptop?
It is advisable to buy a laptop. We do have some great facilities at the library, but for you to really get on with your studies and do as much as you can, I would say yes, but you can buy one when you get here to the UK. What would you say, Toby? Would you agree or disagree slightly?
I completely agree with you.
Oh, wonderful.
Definitely.
Okay.
And Shubomi, what's the last day I can arrive in the UK?
You have to arrive before your enrollment starts, so you have to be in the UK before the enrollment.
Fantastic.
And before, yeah.
And Tim, what's the first thing I should do once I arrive at the UK airport? Sorry, you're on mute.
When you arrive,
Yep.
put on your nice warm jumper.
Fantastic.
Hopefully, you should have booked your onward travel in advance. And as we mentioned earlier in the presentation, we can organise that for you with an airport pickup, with a local taxi company here in Plymouth. You can travel by yourself, or you can organise yourselves to share a car with a group of fellow travellers, new friends, hopefully. There are other ways. Taxi would be the easiest, would be the most expensive, but there are lots of ways of travelling from Heathrow or other international airports down to Plymouth. Were you thinking of something in particular that you need to do, Toby, apart from making sure that you've organised your onward travel?
I think it's just that those are all correct answers, but I would also add, say that they should let a member of the student support team know. So email student.
I was going to say, let us know when you're here.
Yeah.
That's really important.
Yeah.
Because and also ideally, if you can get here during office hours, that will be a lot more convenient. Also for getting into your accommodation. So if you're booking through Clever Student Lets, they can be very flexible about making sure you can get your key in the evening or the weekend, but they will need advance notice in order to do that. So yeah, in advance, let us know what your travel arrangements are if you possibly can. And then once you're here, let us know that you've arrived, and then we'll be ready to welcome you.
Yep. So yeah, that wraps it up from this presentation point of view, but I'm sure most of you will have some very good questions. Please feel free to ask them. And it's very important that you're vocal with us, because someone on this call might not have the confidence to ask the question that you have just put forward. So please, any questions, you can feel free to use it in the chat function, or just unmute your mic and let us know what you'd like to know. Any questions?
Just while people are thinking about their questions, might be worth going back to a couple of things. Absolutely, you need a laptop. You won't be able to study on your phone. Don't think you can do everything on your phone. There are lots of computer labs around the campus and in the library, but ideally you would have your own laptop, but you don't have to have a very high spec. In fact, there are lots of shops in Plymouth that sell perfectly serviceable second-hand laptops to a reasonable price, but you will need something of your own. Also, make sure it's a machine that has Microsoft Office, not a Google or other operating system, because you need access to all of those basic software packages on Microsoft like Excel and Word. So yeah, that's just a quick comment on the laptop. Don't think you need the highest spec, but you will need something you can access in your own time and your own space.
Yeah.
Also on clothing, you know, Toby hinted at it being cold. It will be colder here probably than where you're coming from, but it's still not really cold in the UK. It's still between around 15 degrees at the moment. So don't think that you have to buy lots of new warm clothes before you come here. Come here, see how you feel, and then there are lots of shops in Plymouth where you can buy low-cost clothing. You don't have to buy really expensive stuff either. And we can give you lots of advice and guidance on that when you get here. So don't pack loads of suitcases full of clothes. Pack the minimum, and then when you get here, work out what it is you think you need in addition.
Fantastic. I can see Chloe is helping us answer some queries on there. Thank you, Chloe. And thanks, Tim, for that. The other thing, just to reiterate again, we are closed from the 23rd of December up until the 3rd of January. So it's very important that you do not arrive during this period. I believe our accommodation providers are also closed as well. So you may need to stay in a hotel during the Christmas period should you arrive that early. It's a lot better to arrive maybe a week before orientation. That'll probably be the best possible option for you, because our offices will be open and there'll be staff here to assist you with any queries that you have before the orientation week. But we promise to send you the orientation and orientation guides in around December, probably about the 1st or 2nd week, so you can start making some preparations. Any questions from the group?
No, I think we'll be able to answer the questions there.
Fantastic. Just give it 2 minutes in case anybody has any burning questions.
Thank you all very much for joining, though. If you think of any other questions after the webinar has finished, then please do get in touch. We'll be more than happy to help. As I mentioned, we're recording this session, so we'll post it on our YouTube channel. And if you want to go and look at our YouTube channel, there's lots of other videos on there. So interviews with staff, with other students, and lots more useful information there too. So please do go and check that out. We're also active on other social media. So we have Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. So go and have a look there as well to get a flavour of what it's like to be a student at UPIC and in Plymouth. There you go. Amber's put into the chat the social media handles that we have. Any more questions, anybody, before we wrap up the session? If not, I will say thank you to my colleagues, to Shubomi in Lagos, to Chloe and Amber, and our MC Toby for their contributions and for leading us through the session. And thank you to all of our participants for joining. And we really look forward to welcoming you in the new year as a student in Plymouth. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, everyone. In the meantime, I know some of you are putting through some questions. Please, if you could just forward them across to info@upic.plymouth.ac.uk. I've just put that across in the chat function. So put it across there and we can forward that across to the admissions department. I'm sure Chloe will be happy to pick up any questions later on. All right.
Great. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Have a good day. Bye.
Yeah.
Take care.
Everyone.